We now move on to our what we call our spotlight presentations, and what we've been doing over the past couple of years is having various regional directors report on their happenings in their region, and every time we do it, we all learn something and really get impressed with all the cool things that are happening. So since Long Island is in the house today with me and now Tony, we also have Kara Longworth, who's our regional director. And again, let me tee up Kara because, again, before becoming chair of ESD, I was co-chair of the Long Island Regional Economic Development Council for 11 years. For the first 11, what round are we in now?
14.
14, so I did rounds 1 through 11. And Kara and her deputy, Denise Sani, who is right over there, really an amazing team, hard workers. They have their pulse on what's happening in the region, and they have a great team of other people in the office, and they do a terrific job. And I'm going to hand it over to Kara, and who's going to give us the Long Island Spotlight presentation.
Thank you, Kevin, and board, and it's happy to be here today and tell you guys all about Long Island. And it's like a real honor to have all my fellow regional directors and deputy directors here as well. They all did such a fantastic job on their presentations, and I've learned so much about the rest of the state. Hopefully I can hold up my end of the bargain and teach you guys all about Long Island. But not, I mean, Lorene and Kevin, you guys know all of this already. But I'm going to talk about just a brief introduction to the region for those people who are not familiar with it. Then I'm going to talk about our strengths and our challenges and how we are using the regional council to develop strategies to address the challenges and implement it with state resources. So first of all, Long Island, we are an island. We live on Long Island, not in Long Island. You can always tell somebody when they use the wrong preposition, that they're not really a Long Islander. We have about 2.9 million people that live on the island. As you can see there, it's about equally split between the two counties, although Suffolk County has 3 times the land mass. So it is, we are more dense in Nassau County and obviously much less dense in Suffolk, where we even have about 100,000 acres of preserved pine lands and 30,000 acres of farmland. We have 13 towns, 2 cities, 96 villages, and I think something like 900 taxing jurisdictions in the region. So our people are as diverse as our geography. We have 42% non-white, and that has been trending up year over year. So Long Island's history, we were first founded in 1650 in Southold, which is the eastern tip of Long Island. In the beginning, our economy was based on agriculture and aquaculture. Those are two strong industries still in the region. Suffolk County is the 4th largest agricultural producer in the state, and our fishing fleet brings in about $1.2 billion in goods and services a year. In the 1900s, aerospace and defense took over our economy. You're all familiar with Grumman. They were one of the largest manufacturers on Long Island. They made pretty much all the, many of the Navy fighter fighter jets. Well, no, planes in the beginning and then later jets in the Cold War. Obviously, the F-14 Tomcat, which was made famous by Tom Cruise in Top Gun. As all those planes were made there. At its height, they had about 23,000 employees on Long Island. I think they just have a very small footprint there now today, and they don't manufacture anything on Long Island. So everybody knows about Long Island's aviation history, but a little known fact is that we also had the first submarine base in the continental United States. Commissioned 6 submarines out of New Suffolk between 1899 and 1906. So in the 380 years since Long Island was first founded, we've seen a lot of transitions. Our potato farms have become wineries. Our Superfund site in Glen Cove has been remediated and is a beautiful condo development now. And where we used to, oh, and I forgot to mention the lunar module was also made by Grumman that landed on the moon. Where that was manufactured is now Bethpage Movie Studios, where we're making movies today. So some of our strengths. Our economy is really innovation-based now. We have tremendous research facilities on Long Island. Chairman Law dubbed it the Innovation Corridor. First up, we have Feinstein Institutes for Medical Research. This is the research arm of Northwell Health. They are global leaders in bioelectric medicine. We gave them a $30 million grant to create a bioelectric medicine facility on their campus. And 2 years ago, the governor also announced another $10 million grant for them to build out their cancer labs, 10 cancer labs. Moving further east, we have Cold Spring Harbor Lab, which has been around for over 100 years. This is a world-renowned life science laboratory. They specialize in genomics and cancer and neuro. We have given them approximately $100 million over several years through several grants to build out their facilities. And they are building a large neuroscience facility, including a neuro AI research complex. And moving further east, we have Brookhaven National Lab. You've all heard me talk about Brookhaven in the past. This is a federal Department of Energy federal multi-purpose user lab. It is soon to be home to the Electron-Ion Collider. This is a $2 billion federal investment with a $100 million state investment. That's Hope and I standing inside the current ion collider, which they will be adding an electron ring to. It'll be a one-of-a-kind machine. We also gave them a $15 million grant to buy a cryo-EM microscope. This is attached to the Nanosynchrotron Light Source 2, which is the brightest light source in the world. This microscope came online just in early 2020, just in time to become an integral part of the research on the COVID-19 vaccine. And lastly, they are building out a tech park just outside the perimeter gates. This will capitalize on the thousands of researchers that come to the facility every year. There will be places for collaboration, hotels, housing, a tech campus, and hopefully we'll be able to attract companies that come to use these one-of-a-kind machines to stay here on Long Island. Now, we have all these great physical assets, but luckily we also have an incredibly educated workforce. We have some of the best high schools in the country, award-winning students. We have 20 colleges and 3 medical schools. And we are happy to say we also just funded the first veterinary medicine school on Long Island. This is at LIU University. We gave them a $12 million grant. This is only the second vet school in the state, and there's only 4 in the Northeast, and it will fill a need for more veterinarians in the country. Of course, the anchor of our research corridor is Stony Brook University. This is one of SUNY's flagship universities. In addition to its 30,000 students, 14,000 employees, it has a hospital and a research park with 2 cats and 2 COEs. So our workforce is educated. We have almost 45% of our over 25 have a bachelor's degree or higher. That's 5% higher than the state and 10% higher than the United States. It is Manufacturing Month, so we can't not talk about manufacturing. We have 36,000 manufacturers on Long Island that employ 70,000 people. While we don't have the big Grumman anymore, we still do have hundreds of smaller companies that are subcontractors in the aerospace and defense. We have a burgeoning food industry. We gained 1,000 jobs in our food production industry in the last year. And our biggest sector is life sciences, biotechnology, making pharmaceuticals and nutraceuticals. And no conversation about Long Island economy cannot include tourism. Tourism is a huge part of our economy. You can see $7.5 billion this year. That's up $1 billion from last year. Wow. Obviously, we have incredible natural assets in the region. We have almost 1,200 miles of shoreline. We are situated adjacent to New York City, which I think is the largest visited city in the world. We had 41 million visitors last year. And who come to see our natural assets. We have wineries. We have 60 wineries on the East End and numerous craft breweries. So we have our challenges like everybody else. The 2 biggies are housing and workforce. Although our population is relatively stable, we have lost 98,000 residents between the ages of 35 and 55 in the last decade, and 70,000 between 18 and 49 in just 2021. So that creates a job shortage. We have open jobs. Hope you asked me about this the other day. DOL's reported we had 9,300 manufacturing manufacturing jobs open in the last year, with almost 800 open as we are here today. And connected is our housing shortage, right? We know we've created more jobs than housing units, 62,000 more jobs than housing units in the last 20 years. We just simply do not build as much as our contemporary suburbs. And we still have considerably less rental housing, percentage of rental housing, as like almost half from other suburbs around the city. So what that means is that our housing is expensive. It goes up and up and up every month. Every month, as Kevin and Lorene can attest, Newsday reports that we have hit a new median high. $835,000 in Nassau, $680,000 in Suffolk is the median home price, which means that our 43% of our owners are cost burdened and 50% of our renters are cost burdened, which means they have to pay more than 30% of their income on housing. So what are we doing about it? The Regional Council has been well aware of our housing situation since the very beginning. Since year one, as Kevin knows, we have funded many housing projects and mixed-use projects. We've created through our projects 4,100 units. 1,200 of them are affordable, and 12 of them are TODs, and 12 of them were in distressed communities. But we're not done yet. Obviously, we still have a ways to go. We were very, very happy last year that we won the challenge, the REDC challenge. So we were awarded $10 million to tackle the housing issue. We're going to roll this program out very shortly. We're working with a consultant now. We're going to use that $10 million to hire consultants and give technical assistance to communities to identify available sites for housing and to make them shovel-ready, whether that's hiring engineering firms, changing the secret, finding developers. So we're excited about that. We've also changed the Long Island Investment Fund program, so to specifically include housing projects, and we're working with about half a dozen developers right now, looking to see if we can give them grants to move their projects along. And of course, we've been working closely with our sister agency, HCR, to encourage more and more communities to apply for the pro-housing so they can access more funding for their programs. And lastly, we have workforce development. We have an incredible workforce development work group through our REDC. They're very active. We have all the stakeholders, the educators, the employers, the manufacturers. They come together on a regular basis and really try to come up with some strategies to figure out our workforce shortage and to train people for the jobs of today and tomorrow. Some of the programs we worked on, obviously the offshore wind is huge on Long Island. I just last week got to go out to that wind farm there. It was a phenomenal trip. Anyone gets the opportunity, I say take it. We've given a $3 million grant to the National Offshore Training Group to train people in the operations and maintenance of the wind farms. Also, the Navy has come to town. I mentioned earlier that we had the first submarine base in the continental United States. We still have about 300 or 400 subcontractors on Long Island that are subcontractors to the Navy, who is rebuilding their submarine inventory. The Navy has recognized that their subcontractors need talent, so they've developed this talent pipeline. They've come to 4 different states. I think New York is 4th on their list, and most of those companies are on Long Island. So they are giving grants to some of our stakeholders to create programs to train people for these subcontractors. And finally, the workforce group has always been very conscious of making sure that our workforce development programs are equitable and inclusive, and trying to build up the workforce by bringing people back to the workforce that have traditionally been left out. Nassau County ran this great program called Urgent, which is utility training for women, vets, and youth. And United Way has been running a program, Youth Build, for many years now, very successful, helping young people get their GEDs and develop a trade at the same time. And finally, I will end with a quick video from a not-for-profit who trains people that are neurodivergent to work in screen printing.
So Spectrum Designs Foundation is a customer apparel and promotional products business with a social mission. That mission is to help create jobs for people with disabilities. So we were founded in 2011 with the mission to create these jobs, and now we have 8,000 square feet and we have 40 employees, and about 23 of them are people with developmental disabilities. These are people who are now for the first time getting proper hands-on training to get a feel for what it's like to get paid for the work they're doing, and hopefully grow into a paid position here or be able to take their skills to other print shops in the local area. Diversity, they say, is being invited to the party. Inclusion is being asked to dance. And so we make sure that people are being asked to dance.
I learned about screen printing. I've been trying to get new things so I could learn. Today, I learned about embroidery, how to get the machines done and take the things off when it's ready. I've been working hard all these 3 years and almost 5 months, and it's been going great.
I'm sorry, that ends a little abruptly because we cut that out of a SIAD presentation. But they have also actually expanded to the Mid-Hudson too, Spectrum Designs. It's a wonderful company. So that's our story. This is my team. A special shout out to Anne-Marie Proscia, who really did this PowerPoint, and I drove her a little crazy the last couple days as Noah was telling me to cut it down, cut it down, cut it down. Oh, sorry. But it was great. It was a great opportunity for all the team to come together and really figure out, like, what can we tell you, right? I mean, the region is so big, it's so broad, but what can we really break down and bring to the table to let you guys really know what Long Island is all about? So happy to answer any questions or follow up.
Okay. Terrific job, Kara. Yeah. So you can tell Long Island is just like some of the other presentations we had, from other regions of the state, was very dependent on one major employer or a couple of major employers, like we were at Grumman, and then things happen and the place is resilient, just like other places upstate, and you figure out different industries and sectors to invest in, and whereas Grumman was, everybody growing up knew somebody who worked at Grumman, and now they have like a de minimis presence on the island, but it's the place is still thriving. Kara, with the housing consultant, do you guys already have the consultant
Yes.
on board?
Yep.
Yeah. And did another region win? Was there only one $10 million grant awarded? Was there another? Three? And are they doing something similar with their housing monies?
There's not housing. They focused on workforce development.
Oh, so you guys won just the one for
Yeah.
housing? Got it.
Yeah.
Very good. And when should the study be done?
Well, we're hoping by the end of the year. We're talking to communities. We're trying to figure out what's the best program to run. It's going to be, like I said, we're going to be hiring consultants and paying for them to go into communities and help them make a shovel-ready site for development. So we're right now talking to some of the communities, like what would work best. So when we're ready to roll it out, we know we're doing what can really be needed. So I think a month or two.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. And the median price homes, when you see $830,000 in Nassau County, so you think about employers who want to either locate or try to expand there, and it's like their biggest challenge is, all right, even if we could pay our workers $200,000 a year, that doesn't qualify them to afford the median priced home. And so it really is a significant challenge. That's why I think Governor Hochul is so right in when she's focusing so many of her efforts on housing, and then ESD, which historically didn't play a big role in housing, is now very involved in the sector. So it's great to see Long Island doing that as well. Do any of the other board members have any questions for Kara?
No, but I did appreciate that. It's a very good presentation.
Very, very impressive, especially the stats.
Well, we made that argument in our strategic plan last year because there is some fear of too much housing in the region to go, as you know, right? You see it in the paper all the time, people fighting out, trying to oppose projects. But if you make the argument that we need it for the workforce because you want your companies to grow, You want people to be employed. You want your children to stay on Long Island. And if we don't build the housing for them, we can't keep them here. And I mean, it's not just in manufacturing. I mean, anytime you go to a grocery store or restaurant, they're closing one day a week because they can't have staff, or you see the help wanted sign everywhere. We definitely, and so we connect that idea to housing. We're hoping that people will understand a little bit better that it's not a bad thing. Closing schools, right? We've seen schools closing, right?
Absolutely.
All right, well, good job, Kara. Thank you so much. And Denise, as always, thanks for all your efforts.